Welcome back to the Book Breathing Bitch Queens podcast. I'm Allie.
And I'm Sam.
And this week we're jumping into chapter 30 of ACOTAR. This chapter is, basically just, we get Feyre going to her village, giving some money, seeing Thomas. We get a Claire better mention. And then the rest of it's mostly just a conversation with Nesta. But honestly, one of the more iconic ones, one of the more interesting things. And I'd say definitely probably like one of those scenes that everyone remembers, thinks back to, theorizes about, because there's so much in here that's so interesting. And obviously it's a lot of Nesta's baseline characterization, which there's lots to talk about. So yeah, what do you think of the chapter overall?
I liked the chapter. I have like three main questions that came out of the chapter, and we'll get to them at the end. But at that point, I was just like, I know. I was like, at this point, I'm just going to write down like my three main like possible theory building questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I did though was when she goes and hands out the money, I said, quite the high lady energy.
Me too. I was like, oh, she is such a high lady. And I think we had talked about, I don't know if we talked about it, but I think right before this, she had sort of had like, at Summer Solstice, I think, she sort of talks about how she didn't believe there was a better world, and there was.
Mm-hmm.
And we had kind of talked about like, she's actually, like, Tamlin's better world is just a little bit better than, but like, she's the one who's going to really do the full making a better world here with the, in the spirit of Elain and what Elain would actually be down for. So this just, I thought the same thing. I was like, that's high lady shit, which is awesome. Even the not engaging with the gossipers too is kind of like, she's like sort of regal.
I thought that we got such a very good character assessment of Thomas and Isaac in the shortest amount of words possible.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very clever writing that, like, in this next paragraph, right, when it's like, I passed Thomas and his cronies, cronies already, right, lurking in the village fountain, chatting about some house that had been burned down with a family trapped inside a week before and whether there was anything to loot from it. So already, like, yes, we're getting the Claire nod and a little foreshadowing to that, but like already we're using so many words that tells us exactly what these people are.
Lurking,
and that this
crony,
a whole family is burned down in a house and they're wondering if they can steal stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And he gave me a too long look, his eyes roving freely over my body with a half smile I'd seen him give to the village girls 100 times before. I wonder, or why had Nesta changed her mind? I think you know, love.
I know, I thought the same thing. I was like, why are you asking it like that? You're like,
Yeah.
I would have expected her to say, no wonder Nesta changed her mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it sounds so gross.
Well, and I think that it's supposed to be like a little bit of a, right, we know that there's the bonus chapter where we get like the details of what Thomas did. And so like maybe it's also there to like keep us a little intrigued as to like, okay, but what actually happened? Like, why did she actually not go through with it?
Yeah. Although if it's that, it's a little bit too heavy-handed of a foreshadowing moment. I think it would have been still put in her head if she just said no wonder. Anyway, but
I'm like in like three sentences you've told I'm like in three sentences you've told me everything I need to know about this character.
Yeah.
And then he sucked.
Same kind of thing with Isaac as well.
Isaac is happy.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. I was like, okay, so she goes away for 3 months, she has her glow up, and so does he? Like,
well,
it seems almost random. Like, what do you mean? He seems like a man now? Maybe she just sees things differently.
I think that what we're supposed to get is some closure to Isaac. That Isaac is married and he's happy and he's in love and he's been honest with this wife because she even gets a little awkward when Feyre's there. So she knows about the relationship. And so I'm like, good on you, Isaac, for being upfront about.
Oh, you think that she definitely knows? I think that it's possible, but I was thinking maybe she just can tell that they have something between them.
No, I think she knows.
Oh, okay. Because he was engaged to her while they were, right?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she definitely can tell for sure.
But I do like that we have like a closing here, and it's not just like closure for the characters, but I think it's closure for us too that we're like, cool, Isaac's fine. And
Yeah.
he's happy.
I think it's like this interesting like closure to the mortal world. Like
Yeah.
she's leaving the human world behind. And so it's meant to seem like, this when you're reading this, you're like, surely the book's not over. It feels like it's over, but like it's almost feels like it has vibes of like at the end of a book when you think
Mhm.
like I forgot what it's called, but the like after the climax and you're like sitting in the new normal type of thing.
Yeah.
Um it feels like that, but you're like, but this is the middle of the book, but
Yeah.
wait, nothing's happened yet.
Yeah.
And so that if I feel like it fits that vibe, but I think it's actually her closure for the mortal world. And also sort of I think at first you get this sense of like, oh, she's happy, things are moving on, she's developed, she really belongs to Tamlin, which is why she feels nothing for this guy. And so you get all those things, but I think it also could probably makes readers suspicious. You're like, why is everything so tidy? Why are we? But like, so maybe it keeps things going.
We don't necessarily get her being interested in Isaac's wants or desires or
No.
needs until this moment, right? So like who knows if Isaac was actually into her, if it was really just a simple release
Yeah.
or if there was more there or whatever. She's not concerned with it. And I think that there's a maturing that she's done too where she can see like
She's glad he's happy and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and that like
She's
that
she's less selfish.
that like he has his own shit going on and that like at some point she was at some point in the book she says I haven't gotten to the point where like I'm going to ask him to meet me even after he's married, right? Which
Hmm.
is an incredibly selfish thing to ask of somebody
Yeah.
if they're
Yeah.
not, I mean it's selfish on both ends, but like she's not like, "Oh, I think that we'll continue because he's into me, but he just can't marry me and he's not going to love this girl," or like whatever fucking internal argumentation people make for cheating, right? But it's solely selfish, right? She's like, I have yet to like get my head around that I'll probably ask him to like still see me afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think at this point is when she's seeing the world for like it's bigger than just her.
Yeah, probably the world felt very small. Like it's my three people and me, and that's all there is in
Yeah.
life. And um, yeah, I also wondered, like, because it says his smile faltered, and I realized probably I wonder if, like, if she knew she was going away, it would make most people would think, well, why wouldn't you just come say bye? You had to leave right then. And I wonder if he was like sad at first, and so he sort of got over her. And maybe that's when he came clean to his like, fiance, or I don't know. I was just sort of thinking about. I was like, I wonder if he's like sad, and now he's gotten over it. Now they're both happy for each other.
That
But
or
I
it's
just, I
just
don't know.
awkward because he just like ran into the girl he used to hook
This
up
is
with, which
like,
is like it's
yeah,
awkward when you run into an ex with your like new person, even if you're married, you're like, ugh, right, okay, hey.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just that. But I was just thinking about. I was like, yeah, she probably didn't. She didn't say bye, but maybe he doesn't care.
Yeah.
But um. Oh, also, let's back up just a little bit with the Claire mention. It
Mhm.
said that the so she's been here. I don't know how long she's been here, but I don't think it's very long. Like she gets there in the last chapter. It's a 2-day journey from Tamlin. Rhys came. So Rhys comes. Her and Tamlin fuck that night. She leaves the next morning. Then it's a 2-day journey, and then so that's like maybe 3 or 4 days, and maybe there's some implied passage of time here, but they say it's happened the house burned down a week ago, and I was
Mhm.
just like, "Dude, Amarantha just immediately moved on it." Like,
Yeah.
because we had a long conversation about why, if Amarantha knows that she's important to Rhys or was important to Tamlin, then, like, that's why she killed her, but I don't know. Like yeah, we had sort of talked about like maybe is she just going after Claire because she realized that Tamlin had a girl who he tried to keep safe, or what is she like? Why did she go over? Because she went so fast. She must have immediately gone to Claire and done that.
Yeah, so Reese would have had to come back and been like,
Tamlin
Tamlin
has a
try
girl.
Tamlin's trying to break the curse.
Yeah, but then we talked about how we don't think he would have volunteered that information. So, because we were like, why would he help Amarantha? And then I was like, our whole conversation was like, maybe she can sense that she's important to Reese or Tamlin or something
Well,
like that.
that or maybe because he knows that she gave him a fake name. He thought she made the name up. right? So then he was like, cool, then I can go and say, he's doing this thing. I can rile her up. I can get her scared. I can get her distracted by looking for this girl
Mm.
whose name is a fake name. And we can distract her with that. And then hopefully that'll give Tamlin some extra time to like actually court this
Okay.
girl.
Okay.
And then it turns
Yeah.
out that it's a real girl's name. And he's like, fuck, stupid. Why don't you, what? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because I was just like still like, why is she going after someone? So yeah, maybe Rhys was trying to agitate
Yeah.
her,
Cause, yeah,
distract
he
her,
might have been
something like that.
like, oh, Rhys is trying to break the curse. There's a girl he's falling for. He's sending her back to, but then he's like, but then he's sending her back to the human. Like he would have told her that too. It's weird.
It is weird, but anyway, there's some resolution from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been like, well, like, don't worry about her. She's being sent back to the human realm, and she's probably like,
Yeah.
cool, kill her anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
don't, yeah, I think it's a little bit, um, I don't know if it's a plot hole, but there's at least some bumpies in the road here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that makes sense. Like that actually makes more sense. Okay, sorry. And then I think this whole chapter or this whole like section is just like, hey, everything's resolved. And I guess maybe that's also to further emphasize that she's doing all the right things that should give her that happy ending feeling and she doesn't feel happy still.
yeah.
So, there's a lot of functions
I
for
also
it,
think
but
it's about her not belonging anymore, right?
yeah.
She's gonna have to endure people that had shunned us and let us starve for years. She doesn't relate to anybody. She's not poor, so she doesn't relate to the poor. She's rich now, but she doesn't relate to them anymore because they literally shunned them and like they're vapid and shallow. It's also portraying the mortal world as the lesser of the two worlds, right? That the reader doesn't want to be in the mortal world either because they suck.
And where are you seeing that? Like it
Because
like
it's
or
vapid and
why do you say that?
shallow.
Oh, okay, okay. So, yeah, just like the vibes of
Yeah, that like
the
the
rich
mortal
people.
realm is boring and vapid and shallow.
Yeah. You definitely get that feeling when you're
She's
reading it.
restless as fuck.
Mhm. Yeah, she was just trying to like, I'll dig some hole just to, distract myself. And also, yeah, I think it emphasized that, but also the first thing she noticed about Isaac is also not that he's a man, that's later. First thing that she notices is that he's human.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if you've been hanging out with like super pretty, sparkling rays of sunshine, fucking
Yeah.
gorgeous Fae, I guess everyone would be a little bit dull after that.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but it also her, maybe it activated something inside of her, like,
Yeah.
and I just thought it was so weird. I was like, it's such a funny thing. But sorry, what were you saying?
A sentence that says, I reassured them I had no green thumb. I just wanted to do something with my day. I'm like, she's so bored.
Yeah, she
She's
is.
like, I have to endure people that suck. And I'm very happy for Isaac. I'm not interested in doing that. So I'm going to dig some holes because I need to do
Yep.
something with my day.
She's gonna be a
She's
side
so bored.
character.
She's so bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a Rhys mention, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a double purpose of showing her missing Tamlin, but I think I love the reading of it. It was hard not to dwell on that shadow in my heart, the shadow that trailed my every step. And probably interestingly, if Claire was if Amaranth is like, I'm gonna go after Claire, I guess he knew it was a fake name, but he probably is checking in on her or trying
Yeah.
to mentally.
I'm sure he's trying to make sure that she's over the wall,
Yeah.
right?
And
He
say
says, I had to make him so scared that he would send you home. I'm sure that he's checking in on her. At least trying to throw a couple of brain feelers out for her. Be
yeah.
like, are you dull yet? Are you dull yet? Get over that wall.
Also, oh, what there's actually another little Reese nod. Well, not a hit, not a mention, but a nod. A little further down, she talks about how like the gardeners would be horrified that she's doing stuff and help in wanting to be in the garden. And she says, they'd surely be horrified when they beheld me splattered with paint.
I didn't catch that foreshadow. That's cute.
And I was just thinking about, yeah, because they'd be watching you fuck Reese in the next book.
Uh
That's
huh.
it. That's when you're splattered with paint.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I mean,
I think we have some really beautiful foreshadowing in this first Nesta line. So Feyre's
What does she
glancing so
say?
she's glancing
Oh,
down at her hands,
yes.
right? And she's noticing that they're dirty. And then she says that right in her mind, right? She's like, "They'll surely be horrified when they beheld the meat splattered in paint." Right? Cool.
Mhm.
So Nesta's standing over by the tree, and she's just watching Feyre look at her hand. I glance at my hand. She's not. She doesn't stop. She glances at her hands. Okay. So already Nesta is like way paying attention to what's happening. And then Nesta says, even if you wash them, there'd be no hiding it. To fit in, you'd have to wear gloves and never take them off. And we think that she's talking about them being dirty because they're rich now. This is beautiful foreshadowing for the blood and the bargain that will soon be on Feyre's hands.
Yeah. Yeah, she will have to wear magical glamour gloves in
Well,
book
and
2.
even still, she's like,
And
even if you washed them, there'll be no hiding it. Like, you would have to cover them up all the time to fit in. And I feel like
mhm.
that's such beautiful foreshadowing for like the blood that Feyre feels like is on her hands that she can't wash it off ever. The bargain is on her hands that I think she literally wears gloves because Tamlin's like, I don't want to keep looking at this guy's bargain on your arm anymore.
Oh yeah, she does wear it in the beginning of Miss and Fear, I think, too,
And
actually.
then even just like when she becomes Fae, right? There's no washing it off. There's no hiding it. Like
Your fingers get longer and like people can tell from like
yes,
right, don't they?
but I don't even mean like literal. I mean like she's not going to be able to wash off Prithian, right? You're going to have to stay covered to even try to fit in. Like
Hmm.
it's past the point.
Although, it's kind of interesting because before Nesta's thing, like in the beginning of the book, was also that she was like, she always seemed like she cared about status and it was like embarrassed by Feyre. Like she was like, "Why are you so
Yeah, a beast.
dirty animal or beast or
Yeah.
something?" And so at the time, I always think like, okay, you're someone who cares about aesthetics and how people look and how they come across. So this line kind of reads like that, like, "Don't bother, you're never gonna fit in. You're still that beast almost." But
Yeah.
there's a lot more like resonance or interesting things there too. Um,
But even still, so Feyre digs a couple of holes one day and she's going to have to wear gloves and never take them off. Like Nesta's talking about more than just the dirt.
yeah,
You,
yeah. I
you
think
know what I
she's just
mean?
trying to be like, "Hey, I know you're a liar, and you don't. I see through
Yeah.
you." Because that's what happens is that they have the real
Do you
conversation
notice
now. So
that Feyre compares Nesta to High Fae?
yes,
Uh-huh.
that is one of the like. Actually, that is one of those lines that when I was like, maybe Feyre is something that because they're sisters was like one of my biggest pieces of evidence was that line. She literally like, and especially since this whole chapter, she's been being like, "God, that person's so human." So I can just
Mm-hmm.
smell the human. Like she's talking like they're so crazy how human they are, and she never says it about Nesta.
Nope.
She also, I don't, yeah, she doesn't look at herself very often. But she also doesn't say it about Elain or her dad. But she
Yeah.
does say it about Isaac, about the servants. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's very interesting. But yeah, beautiful, imperious, still as one of the High Fae. Yeah, the stillness too is also like
Mm-hmm.
one of those big traits. Because you could say that beautiful and imperious, those are just like, yeah, she just is like, wow, my sister's pretty. She's seems powerful, but the stillness is
Yeah.
much more of a tell.
So she said, right, she's like, why are you bothering to stay here? And she goes, it's my home, is it not? And she goes, no, it's not. I think your home is somewhere very far away. And
Hmm.
then later she says, your beast's little tricks didn't work on me. How does she know that Feyre has any affinity towards Tamlin? Is it because she's home and safe?
Um.
Because she's seeing
Yeah.
her
So
how
I
she's come back
mean,
where she's all like, she's fatter and seems to be well taken care of, that it's a safe assumption to just think that Feyre and Tamlin got on fine.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure she's probably been just stewing in it and theorizing it and thinking like, I need to go. At first, she thinks I gotta go rescue her, and then maybe like when the money starts showing up, she starts to put two and two together, and she's like, okay, so this guy clearly is like trying to take care of us for Feyre's sake. So maybe that she's this is her new boyfriend or something. And
Maybe.
so maybe she's just been analyzing things. Yeah, and probably just because Feyre seems happy. Because Elain has already said, I think in the last chapter, that Feyre
Yeah, that
seems
she's
happy,
glowing.
and
Mhm.
Elain says, "Did you meet someone?" And so maybe Nessa's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, she went off with the wolf and fucked him." She's just like assuming that. I
Yeah.
also thought it was interesting that line. She goes, "It's my home, isn't it?" And I was like, "Oh, you're questioning. You're not
Yeah.
saying this is my home. You're saying, isn't it my home?" Which
Yeah.
I get it. It's just rhetorically, but it's just an interesting double resonance there. Double resonance, whatever, you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But um I also love the I think your home is somewhere very far away. It just kind of reeks of fairy
Yeah.
somewhere in a land far far away, like it feels like a
Mhm.
little hint or something. Fairy tale.
I think we have some evidence that Nesta might be, is it Irontooth?
Oh, okay, before we get to that, I will say yes, yes. I was like real I had so many thoughts on there. But I will say I think it's very interesting. Okay, I have some like a kind of out. Where the fuck did I write this? Um, okay, the thing that sort of she reveals is the painting that Feyre made. Right, it's the claw mark on the table,
Mhm.
um, and on a metaphorical level, like that's painting is like Feyre's expression of herself. So of course it's like this. Oh, someone cares about what I've done and my mark on the
Mhm.
world. So it has that. But I think it was also interesting, like Um, you would think that the glamour would, like, sort of hide a claw mark too, and I
Mhm.
almost was wondering is, like, I wonder if, like, Feyre's like, maybe Nesta's the thing that keeps the glamour from affecting Nesta is her magic, and maybe the thing that kept that piece of the table from not changing was, like, because Feyre had painted it and she might have some kinda glamour proofing, I don't know, but that's what I was thinking about was like but I also think I also just wanted to note the metaphorical resonance of like Nesta sort of to get the truth she shows that she really sees Feyre for who she
Mhm.
is. But then I had all these thoughts about why
I
didn't
think
that
that
change? Why isn't that hidden? Why is she have that?
I don't think it's supposed to be hidden in the sense that like it would change the wood. I think what it is that you stop looking, right? That you don't see
Oh.
what's right in front of you because there's a glamour in front of your eyes. And so even if they had shown Elaine this piece of wood with a claw mark, she'd been like, "Yeah, well, that's what happens when a door bursts open in a winter wind." And she'd be like, "That's a claw
Oh,
mark,
okay.
Elaine." And Elaine would be like, "No, that's the mark from the door on the table, Nesta. Like, stop being a freaking psycho." And so I think
Oh, that's
it's
funny.
like that's the right where like the evidence of it is still there, but the glamour, that's what it is, right? It's a shield over your eyes from being able to like take in and see what's in front of you. And I think that that's the power of the glamour is that it doesn't actually change the surroundings. It changes your perception of the surroundings, and that I think is what is nefarious about it. Because it'd be
So
one
do you
thing if he like crime scene scrubbed the place, right?
yeah.
That's one way to think about it. And you're like, okay, well that's a little sketch and like that's crazy. But the fact that he doesn't even have to do any of that, that all of the evidence
It's
could
true.
be
He
in
just left
front
the
of
door broken.
yeah, that all the evidence is there laid out in front of you, and all he has to do is go, you don't see that. And then they
That
don't
is
see it.
interesting. Okay, that kinda works against the theory then that the reason they don't fall to the prey to the glamour is 'cause they're Fae, although maybe it still is fine with it, but it's Nesta's, like, her thing has always been her willpower, and so part of me is like, "Yeah, maybe it is just will alone if that's all it is," but,
But it's
either
iron will. It's iron
yes.
will.
Yeah, let me read the line. "Your beast's little trick didn't work on me," she said with quiet steel. "Apparently an iron will is all it takes to keep a glamour from digging in."
Mhm.
Um And there's a line down further, but we'll get to it. But
Yeah.
so obviously, this is a refresher. In ACOTAR, they think that iron keeps magic away, but
Uh-huh.
it doesn't work. Only ashwood works.
Mhm.
But in Throne of Glass, we already think that Nesta's a witch, and that's where our witches really are.
Mhm.
Um, it is strong. And so yeah, I was like, hell yeah. Even the steel, like, is Silver Flame is the silver supposed to be like a steel? Because she has steel imagery with her a lot, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe the steel is just nothing.
I mean, she also, like, makes the sword, right? And she imbues it
Yeah.
with power and all the things, right? She, like, creates
Okay.
this fucking
But it's
yeah.
iron that really is like the hint there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were thinking Iron Witch?
Yeah, it's not the only time that iron is mentioned with Nesta in
Yeah.
this chapter either. Yeah, I think it's some witchy stuff happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love that theory.
Imagine. Okay, this is so far it's not super far-fetched. I've heard this theory before to some
Mhm.
extent, but, like, imagine if we find out that the the thing that the 13 do, what the fuck is it called when they fucking explode themselves?
Um, oh, I can see it in my head. The
The
yielding.
yielding. So imagine if when they do the yielding, they don't actually disintegrate, but they go through a portal.
They world walk. Yes, yes.
And that one of them happens upon this dopey little human dude. Like they've already been said to do, right?
Yeah.
Astrid does that. She finds a guy in the woods that she fell in love with and got knocked up by, and it's like a whole thing, right? It's not
Hmm.
unheard of to fall for
Yeah,
mortals.
yeah.
Could you imagine if
I love that theory.
Could you imagine if, like, Astrid was their mom, that she, like, found love again in some other dude? No,
No, I think the fans
Astrid's
would
not
hate
a
that, but yeah.
massive bitch, but yeah, well, and then, like, it was Nesta
But there's 12
is
of them. Or,
well, and,
yeah.
like, Nesta was her mother's creature. I mean, that speaks to, like, the relationship between Manon and her grandmother, right? Like, you're
Mhm, the
not my
matrilineal sort of, yeah.
yeah, and that, like, I'm creating you to be fucking fierce and to do this thing. I don't give a shit that you're like, I know you're related to me
Yeah.
and that's great, but,
It
like,
fits their vibe, their ethos, their vibes,
yeah,
yeah.
that, like, this
Totally.
isn't about me loving you. This is about you fulfilling your fucking duty and me making you crazy tough and kind of a bitch in the process.
Mhm.
I mean, Nesta and Manon have some similar vibes.
Oh, no. They have a lot of similar vibes. I think that's where a lot of the theories about Nesta being a witch come from, like, lines like this, but also just her vibes. Like, she just seems
Yeah.
more vicious than a human should really
Yep.
naturally
Mhm.
be. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, I think you can start a theory on vibes alone. Half my Elaine theory started from, like, it just feels like
Yeah.
that's the truth, you know? And then you can find
Well, that
evidence for
she
it.
picked out every flower and told you where to put it in this chapter, right? Like, yeah, it's a vibe. I get it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because well, characterization is a way to hint at
Yeah.
things too. So, yeah, I love yeah, the Nesta being a witch thing. I will also say, the witches in Throne of Glass were created to combat the Valg, right?
Yes.
So, like, maybe that's why she hates Rhys so much.
Maybe.
It's just her instincts, man. I'm just joking, but like, I mean, no, I do
I
love the
haven't decided if
theory
I
that
think that Reese is Valg.
oh, I think I okay, I am on the fence about him. I really don't think he'll be evil, but I do think he's probably some kind of something. He's if he's Valg or he's like a hell thing. He's just something.
Or he's
But I don't
just starborn. Could you imagine that? If it's not Feyre and her sisters that are starborn, but it's him because he looks exactly like Rune?
yeah, maybe he's like a black hole version of Starborn where he's like an inverted or something and that's why he has darkness powers. Which I would love. And also there's certain things that hint at Feyre being Starborn, so it'd be an interesting
Mhm.
sort of duality, but um yeah, but I am sort of fine with just generally kind of in my head thinking that he's Valg.
Yeah.
But it makes things like that cuz it always seemed weird how much Nesta just kind of always hated him, but that would explain
I also saw a theory that Feyre means like starborn, basically, or like star
oh,
created
does
or star something. There's like I
because
can't
they
remember what.
say it means beautiful in the book, but maybe that's just
Yes, but that if you break
uh,
the word down between Fae means star, and then Ra means something else. But they didn't fucking cite their sources, so fuck them. But
mm, that's interesting. Okay, are you ready for this next part? Because I my mouth was like open, or I just was like shook by this. I don't remember this at all.
okay,
I'd never heard of a glamour not working, but Nesta's mind was so entirely her own. She had put up such strong walls of steel and iron and ashwood
yeah,
that even a High Lord's magic couldn't pierce them. What? And
yeah.
also,
First off, I need to find where you're at because I
oh, middle of middle. bottom-ish of 264. It's like a couple paragraphs up from the bottom.
Got it.
Mhm. But the Ashwood,
Well, because the ashwood is what is like I can see her using it, right? Because the ashwood is what like sort of can penetrate and can kill a
in
fae, right?
ACOTAR.
That yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
so like
anti-magic in Prithian.
it's also a really, really good material for a broom to fly on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That she's iron and ashwood and steel. I'm
yeah,
just
I did.
saying, that sounds like a witch with a knife on a broom.
Oh, I wasn't thinking along those lines. I was thinking like, okay, Throne of Glass, the thing that repels magic is iron. In ACOTAR, it's Ashwood. So then I was like looking up is steel repellent to magic in Crescent City, and I was like, is she some kind of amalgamation of like Ant-Man? And I didn't find anything, but
I think it's
that's
I
it feels like
mean,
that.
yeah, I feel like it's supposed to I think what we're so like it's telling us that she can fight Fae, right?
Yeah, but
That
I feel
she
like it's
is
such a
that
weird choice of things to choose.
but I feel like it's supposed to be foreshadowing that she herself is a weapon.
Yeah, yeah,
That she is steel and iron and ashwood. And she's Lady Death. Like she doesn't need a fucking weapon. She is the weapon.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that like and we're even getting this already in the beginning where it's like he tried to put a glamour on her and she was like, "Fuck you."
My mind's made of Ashwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he couldn't penetrate her mind. And so she's like, "Yeah, no, that was silly of you." Dumbass. Um but yeah, I think it's supposed to be speaking to like her as a weapon.
Yeah, no, I like that reading. I just am like the first two line up with the two worlds that we know. We got three worlds.
Mhm.
You could have chose fire. That arguably goes better with Nesta. Wall of Fire. That's also like impenetrable. It's more in line with her character. I was just like,
Yes,
what is this
but
steel
that would
thing?
connect her to Aelin,
Oh,
and maybe
true.
that's not the
Well,
connections that we're wanting to make.
but she does have silver flames. Like flame is she is one of the
Yeah.
probably the most prominent main characters who has flames besides Aelin. You
Nope,
know, and Lydia
there's
has
one in each
flames.
book. There's one in each book.
Lydia, Aelin.
And Nesta.
Oh, and that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't help it with the set. The set of three. I'm like, that's a fucking choice. All that about the Ash.
Yeah.
What?
Nesta already has so much trauma, by the way. Like she's being gaslit like by her parents. She's got mommy issues, she got daddy issues, she got Thomas
Yeah.
issues. Like
She thinks she's going crazy.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. She's already stuffing it down.
How do, this sentence where it says he stole you away into the night claiming some nonsense about the treaty. She's already calling
She
bullshit.
right away.
She knew, yeah, she's like, that's not real.
Yeah. She. Yeah. Feyre just believed it. She was just like,
I
okay,
also
I
feel like Nesta
guess.
feels like chaotic good. Because the
Mhm.
whole
Yeah.
time this chapter, she's like, it's not right. It's not okay. It's not right. It's not right. And you should burn the fucking world down because that would be more right than what he did. It's such
Yeah.
chaotic good where it's like, no, there's a status quo for how you treat people. And when you don't treat people like that, I have the full rights to destroy your fucking world. You're like, that's the most chaotic good in the world.
Yeah.
But that also means she's not the villain.
Yet.
Right.
Just
Well,
kidding.
even still, I don't think that
No, I
her
don't think she is.
archetype is set up to be a villain. I think that we're supposed to think she's a bitch and then like kind of villain-ish kind of and that she has that streak in her and that she acts out and then we get her book where we're like, okay, she's just like trauma and we gotta do some healing here. And then we see like her and Rhys going head to head, constantly fucking fighting each other. And but yeah, I don't think she's meant to she's not going to be the one to betray if that's a real thing.
No,
She's one of
I
the
don't
good
think so.
guys. You just got to you got to put her where she feels safe. When Nesta doesn't
Yeah.
feel safe, cuz even in the next page when she's like painting and like she's like I couldn't convince her to just like feel what was in her heart. She doesn't feel safe, Farah.
Yeah.
She's not safe to
Yeah.
feel what she's feeling right now because all she's feeling right now is all this fucking trauma.
Yeah, she's never really been safe. Like her mom like oppressed her and then she was poor and
Yeah.
all that trauma and then this trauma and yeah, so she's never like she's definitely out of touch for mm, reasonable reasons.
Can I please get a bonus chapter of her in the mercenary? Even just give me that bonus chapter. Give me the 4 days. SJM, give
Dude,
me the 4 days.
seriously. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So here's the thing about the mercenary, if we're going there right now. Um, I hired that mercenary from town to bring me a week after you were taken with the money from your pelt. She was the only one who seemed like she would believe me. There's okay. That's the mercenary's own money just being given back to her, right? She
Yes.
overpaid Feyre. I gave her way too much money, and she was like, "Well, thank you,"
Yes.
but like, part of me goes, "Did that bitch like know something?" And so she's like, "Yeah, here's a bunch of money. I'm gonna get it back anyway." Like
Maybe.
it almost feels like if this is the regular world, I'm like, "That was a scam. You set that up. You knew this," but
I also
I
thought
don't
that
think it
she had
is. So.
spent all the money. They got new boots,
Oh,
they
did they
got a new
spend it?
cloak, right? Like, didn't she like
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I feel like they
So maybe
spent
that's a plot hole.
yeah, I think that she
I was like,
spent all of it
yeah.
or a majority of it because she was like, "Oh, she didn't get the new cloak that she wanted, but she got this or whatever." Like we couldn't get everything that they had
Oh,
asked for.
yeah. So yeah, and I do wonder, weren't they a week after Feyre left? Were they rich then? Maybe not
No.
yet.
No. I mean, maybe not. Who knows? We don't know.
We actually do know I think we know that. I think Feyre notes the moment she goes, "It's been a week since I left. The
Mhm.
meat would almost have run out by now." So it's
Yeah.
almost like we know
And I
when
think it's I
she's
think
at the
and
same
I think that
moment.
that's the moment that he's like, "Don't worry about it. They're taken care of."
Mm. Okay, so maybe she took like the last of their money to go see. Because I was thinking, why don't you just use her other money? She's rich now. But yeah, maybe it was before.
She's the only one who seemed like she would believe me. Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea that this is, I like the theory that this is Fury, but I'm okay with it not being either. I like the idea that
Fury
this
Axstar
is
from Crescent City. That's what we're talking about, by the way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the for me, the mercenary chapter gave me very much like Yaga's sort of witchy vibes, right?
The mercenary did?
Yeah, I don't know why, but she just did. Um, or at least gave me like Throne of Glass witch vibes.
Mm.
And so I love the idea that it like if Nesta is a witch, that who she seeks out
Is it another
is a
witch?
is another
Yeah.
witch for this help, and she's like she's the only one who seemed like she would believe me, right? And
Yeah.
that there's this like like calls to like, and that she can sort of sense the sort of the calling of a coven or whatever. And we don't know that Fury's not a witch either. By the way, we don't know what the fuck Fury is. Just a mercenary with a
Yeah, they
helicopter.
just they just talk about her like yeah, she's a helicopter.
She does.
Forget Crescent City is like that. Yeah. God. Man. Yeah, the mercenary is a whole puzzle piece
Also,
that
I
we
went
better
back to
find
the
out.
mercenary chapter,
Oh, you did? Okay.
and in the description, right, the woman pulled back her sleeve of her heavy jacket, revealing a tanned muscle forearm flecked with gruesome twisted scars. The arc of them so similar to. I didn't have the brute force or size of the Martax, she said, but the bite was full of poison. 2 months, that's how long I was down for. 4 months until I had the strength to walk again. She pulled up the leg of her trousers. Beautiful, I thought, even as the horror of it writhed in my gut. Against her tan skin, the veins were black, solid black, spiderwebs, and creeping like frost. Healer said that it was nothing to be done for it, that I'm lucky to be walking with poison still in my leg. Bryce has poison in her leg.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's Bryce, but I think that this is a big nod to like
Like
just
it's
remember who
demon bite or something like that. Mhm.
remember who has poison in their legs. Remember what world
Yeah.
they come from. And so I think that
Yeah.
that's a selling point for this being Fury, that like it's this
Oh.
nod, a little foreshadowing, a little something that's supposed to be like, wait, doesn't Bryce have poison in her
Because
leg, and that
we were
SJM's
asking
like,
if it
"Yeah,
was a valg
please."
injury.
Yeah, but still, like, so yes, it could be a valg injury, right? It could be a number of things
It's
for
very
thrown of
much like
glass,
that. It feels
but I
like that.
think that having it be like her saying like it's a wonder I can walk with this poison in my leg,
It was,
then
yeah.
readers can be like, "We didn't Bryce have poison in her leg?" And SJM could be like, "Yes, please think about Crescent City right now."
Yeah, although no one's reading this unless it has to be on a reread because very few people probably read this
Fair.
last or after Crescent City, but which also makes it easier to hide stuff like that. But yeah, no, we had joked I think we had talked about the fact that the scars were like are they ward mark scars?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we
yeah.
had all these theories about
I mean,
that and the black
it's a bite
veins.
mark, and so like there's a curve of a mouth, and so I think that that's what we're supposed to be thinking is
Uh
that like she's looking at it, she's like, it's so similar to like, yeah, a bite mark. It was a bite mark.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, but either way, yeah, it's like it's in the
like
leg. It's
finish your
like the same kind
sentences,
of thing.
Sarah. Finish your sentences.
I know. I also wondered if the mercenary could have interfered with the glamour because they
Maybe.
talked to the mercenary that day. She gave him a bunch of money.
But she went to the mercenary after the glamour already didn't take hold. I think the glamour didn't take hold from
Oh,
the beginning because she said, I had to watch them go from being like blubbering, like
mhm.
crazy to nothing. That she resisted Tamlin the second he tried to put glamour on her.
Yeah. No, I don't really think that. I just thought it was funny because no, because Feyre had talked to the mercenary and
Mhm.
gotten her money that day. So
Yeah.
I was almost like, because the mercenary seems to like she's one of those characters. The reason we're so suspicious of her is because she feels like she knows what's going to happen. She stayed in town so that I don't
Yeah.
know. She
Uh-huh.
seems like she's like a hunter or knows when shit's gonna go down. Why is she in their dumpy little town?
Yeah.
And it's
I
what it
mean,
could
there
just
are
be
some
nothing, but
theories that she's like a spy for the Suriel, which I'm like, I don't know where you're coming up with
for the
that.
cereal, I think she could be a spy for somebody. And then
Yeah.
yeah, like maybe doing some stuff. But I was just like, I wrote a little note. Did the mercenaries' money or magic interfere with the glamour and
Yeah,
whatever?
maybe.
But I know that's kind of crazy. But oh well, I just thought it was funny how like Nesta's eyes, my eyes, our mother eyes met mine. Um, it wasn't right, and then she gets into like talking about how she knew the truth, and this is where she sort of um like well no sorry she's just gotten sort of this Nessa's eyes, my eyes, our mother's eyes met mine. And this is like the wind up to her getting the truth that she's been asking for and trying to get. And I just thought it was so interesting. I had this sort of like line of thinking like the truth that Nessa seeks is in their eyes. They look at each other and they see the truth. And really it's the story that she wants. But there's just something so weird about the cadence of that line and like the looking into each other's and they're being like two sides of the same coin, having the same eyes. And I was just going off about the mom being a witch, mom being the reason that they are different
Yeah.
and sort of the answer is in the mother and in their eyes and they should be able to see it. Yeah, I just wrote like a bunch of notes for that part. Did
I
you think
mean,
of anything of it? Just metaphorical resonance
yeah,
wise.
I didn't underline it, but like I think that it's with the theory that there's something more than just human. I think that this is one of those like
Feels like a hefty line.
one, it feels like the blood thing, right? Like, oh, I felt it in my blood, I felt it in my bones. Like, I feel like this is a callback to like, and we're already talking about the mom when we're gonna get more mom conversation later. So like
Mm-hmm.
interesting that she's kind of in the periphery of their thoughts and conversation. Um so when Feyre asked what happened to Thomas, and she goes, I realized he wouldn't have gone with me to save you from Prithian. Um I wrote, AKA, I realized that he's a self-serving little bitch.
Yeah. I thought that was an interesting answer because we know it's like kind of a lie, right? Like she fought him off and that's really why. But it's also like
It means that, okay, this is what this line really means. It means one, he's not noble. He has no noble and decent
oh, like
tendencies.
I was thinking like nobility.
No, no, no. That he's like, he has no
Yeah.
decent tendencies. And
Hmm.
that if I were to marry him, he would not stand next to me.
Yeah.
That I'm
And
willing to go and put my life on the line for the person that, for someone that I love. And he would not be willing to go with me to do that. He doesn't deserve to stand with me at Like, you don't get to stand with me at my worst unless you can stand by me at my, sorry. You don't deserve to stand with me at my best if you can't stand with me at my worst.
Yeah, I agree. I totally see what you're saying there. Also, okay, on that in that vein, like, at first I was just like, "Jeez, that's not the truth, that's a weird line." I also thought it was weird that Feyre immediately goes she says, "I knew all this stuff. I went to go." We get the admission that she went to go see her. She had hired the mercenary. Then the first thing that Feyre says is, "What happened to Thomas?" And I thought that was kind of weird. But it's also like, "Hey, the truth's coming out. I want to know what's really happened. That was your big thing before I left. That was what was on our minds, and I want to know. So we're telling the truth now.
That,
So let's hear it."
or
But did you think of something with that?
I don't know. I mean, it's a weird question to ask. I'm like trying to think if there's any indication that like Feyre even thinks that Thomas did anything
I don't
inappropriate, and I don't think that
think
that's what it
so.
is. But like maybe the same way that like maybe she can see that like something happened. I don't know what it is, but something about Nesta, like she's always been cold and standoffish and whatever.
Mm,
But
yeah.
she came for me, which I did not expect. And like, I don't know. I'm wondering if like in the same ways that Elain can kind of see that Feyre has fallen in love, Feyre can kind of see that somebody has done something wrong to Nesta.
That's interesting. I
That
could
she's
also
like,
see like Nesta's is telling her suspicions, and she's telling Nesta her suspicions,
yeah,
or they're being vulnerable. Like, hey,
yeah,
I really care about you. Let's talk about real shit now. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, maybe she can sort of see it in Nesta, and she doesn't know how to ask, so she's just like, "What?
well, and I'm
Yeah."
just wondering if she like suspects that she was assaulted. Like, could like, do you think that
I don't
Feyre?
think she directly suspects it, but maybe subconsciously. Yeah, she's like, yeah, she's sensing it. Like, she just doesn't understand it. I think we would
Yeah,
get more internal stuff if she really sensed it, you know?
yeah.
Um,
I mean, she knows that Thomas is like that his dad beats his mom and the boys don't do anything to stop it. So she already knows that he's like at the very least cowardice to his dad. At the very worst, totally fine with that behavior.
and she assumes that he's, like, kind of a common criminal from the
And
beginning
she assumes that
description.
he's going to hit Nesta because she says like, you
Did
know,
she say that?
yeah,
Oh.
there's some comment about like, you can only hide behind like bruises still show
Mm,
over money or some shit, right? So she thinks
okay.
that Thomas is going to beat her if she were to marry him. So
Hmm.
I think it's only a fucking hop, skip, and a jump to think that he would do anything else.
Yeah.
But it's a weird placement for this question, right? That they're talking about Tamlin this whole time, talking about how she went to this treaty, she did this thing, or like, she doesn't believe in the treaty. She went to the mercenary. She's over here trying to save Feyre, and Feyre's question through all of that is, what happened to Thomas? It's weird.
Yeah. It also, if we think of like just maybe like they sort of have parallel story arcs, like they both have this man that kind of like a beast of a man that's trying to get at them, and Feyre will eventually get over hers, and Nesta is like doing that ahead of time.
I don't think Feyre would ever make that connection between
No, no, I mean
Tamlin.
like this is SJM's notes, like, big
Maybe.
picture. She goes, "They're gonna have Nesta's gonna, like, defeat her beast early on. Feyre's gonna take a book and a half to do it," type of thing, but it's, like, interesting because they both have to deal with this, like, man who's, like, pushing in on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even more simple than that, Feyre suspected that they would forget about her. They have money. They're gonna move on,
Mhm. Oh, and
and
he
that
was gonna be her answer.
no, that Tamlin gave them money, so they're all rich and they're all totally fine, and they can forget about her.
Mm,
And that the vision she had in her head was like, Elaine's gonna find somebody to marry, and Nesta said she was gonna marry Thomas, and now she has all the money for a dowry to do it. So they're gonna forget about me. I'm gonna be nobody.
mhm.
And that's what she is expecting when she comes home, is that Nesta's gonna be married off, Elaine's on her way to being married off, and that people have forgotten about her because that's like her biggest fear. So like maybe that's what she's asking when she's realizing that the truth of what they have been doing is vastly different than the story she's made up in her head for the last, I don't know, 6 days that she was with Tamlin and fell in love with him. That's why she's asking about Thomas, because she's like, okay, this whole time I've been with Tamlin, I figured you were gonna say fuck off, Feyre. You were gonna go get married. You were gonna go get wife beat, whatever. And so what happened? Why is this so different?
Yeah.
And I think that she's trying to reconcile the image of what she had in her head of what her sisters were going to be doing without her to the reality. And the reality
Yeah.
is that Nesta was worried, felt like there was an injustice, and tried to rectify that. Where Feyre's like, she would have never done that. She doesn't give a shit about me. And she would have said, well, good fucking riddance, especially once they got Tamlin's money. For sure gonna forget about me. And so I think
Yeah.
Feyre's trying to figure, like, she's trying to get over
Figure out
what
where the
she thought
discrepancy
what was gonna
is.
happen. Yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
from what actually happened. And it's kind of
Yeah.
wrestling with the idea that, like, oh, there might be so much more to my sister than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that, like, and I mean, she says it already that, like, um,
Like when she says, "I looked at my sister, really looked at her."
kind of. So it says, yeah. I looked at my
Mm.
sister, really looked at her, at this woman who couldn't stomach the sycophants who now surrounded her, who had never spent a day in the forest and had gone into wolf territory. We'll come back to that. Who had
Uh-huh.
shrouded the loss of our mother, then their downfall, in icy rage and bitterness, because the anger had been a lifeline and cruelty a release. But she had cared. Beneath it, she had cared, and perhaps loved more fiercely than I could comprehend, more deeply, more loyally.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think that what that is that she's trying to kind of come to terms with the fact that she's like, "Oh, maybe I was unfair to Nesta."
Yeah.
That, like, Nesta's a big old bitch and she's fucking mean as fuck. But I'm starting to
Mhm.
see that it's not just her personality. This is because of loss and trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of feels like another, if this chapter is all about false happy endings, definitely has that feeling as well. Yeah, they really looked at her. I always notice lines where it talks about like looking away, looking at someone, so I just noted it. Because there's a lot of really interesting lines, and obviously it's just a regular metaphor of that idea.
Why do you think Nesta asked her to teach her how to paint?
Okay, so on a thematic level, I think, okay, so in terms of characters, painting is this motif that Feyre, when she's happy, she paints. She only paints when she's happy. If she doesn't feel right, she doesn't paint. And it's like this metaphor throughout the series. And I think this moment is kind of, yeah, it's a moment about like vulnerability and like sort of being seen. Actually, that's what all the looking in the eyes and stuff
Mhm.
lines are. And so to me, I think that it's like Nesta admitting, I want to know you, or I want,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I just think it's like metaphorically and literally like a way to know Feyre. They both crave intimacy. And I think it's actually like kind of another piece of that sort of false happy ending is that Feyre's painting. Not really,
Yeah.
she's painting because someone asked her to. She didn't like want to the way she does when she like is finally accepting the mate bond or whatever. But um
But
she,
that they can be
it's
vulnerable with each
interesting.
other, that they can open
Yeah.
up to each other.
And they're trying with each other.
Yeah.
Did you have other thoughts about it or just
No, I mean, I did
wondering?
say that, like, when it says supplies were so I'm on 266. Supplies were easy to come by, but explaining how I painted, convincing Nesta to express what was in her mind, her heart. At the very least, she repeated my brush strokes with a precise and solid hand. And I said it's because Nesta doesn't feel safe enough to do that yet, right? That
Yeah.
she's not, and I don't mean safe enough with Feyre. I don't think she's safe enough with herself to open up and feel the
Mhm.
things that she's, you know.
Yeah.
And then I said, besides, her outlet is music and dancing, and so, like,
She's attempting. She's trying, but it's just hard. Um but yeah, did you have anything else to say about the painting thing?
no.
Yeah. I just thought it was an interesting, like, she gets the truth and then she goes, it's sort of like just like a moment of like, let's continue to know each other now that we've cleared the air type of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Nesta also asks Feyre to teach her how to uh use a bow and arrow, right? That there's a point in the book where she, like, asked her to teach her, and then, like, someone was like, "Can you even do this?" And she was like, "Yeah, Feyre showed me how to do it long ago." I think she tells Cassian that, like, Feyre showed me how to
oh,
use a bow and arrow when we were poor or whatever. Um, and so I'm wondering if the bow and arrow is what kept them alive, what kept Feyre alive. And so I think maybe her asking, "Can you teach me how to paint?" is once again asking Feyre, "How do you stay alive? How do you keep
Yeah,
surviving?" And so
in this like
she's wanting her she's
higher
being
tier.
yeah, that it's not about like, I mean, it is about bonding and being vulnerable, but I think it could also just be about like, so I asked you to show me how to shoot because I knew that that's how you stayed alive.
Hmm.
And now in this story that you've just told me everything, that painting is part of your survival, and I'm just trying to fucking survive.
Survive,
So
yeah.
can you teach me how to paint?
Oh
Teach
yeah,
me how to paint.
I like that.
That she's
Yeah.
like, I just don't know how to survive anymore. I'm just trying to keep my head above water, which is hilarious because she goes in the cauldron at some point. But like, I'm just trying to keep my head above water. Can you teach me it? What do you do to keep your head above water? And Feyre's is
Mhm.
painting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that yeah, I like that reading. As you were talking, you also reminded me of the Thomas Mandry line where she says, I realized he wouldn't have gone with me after you. I just think it's very interesting that the very first interaction she has with Cassian is him defending Feyre against her, but it's still like thematically interesting. Plus, him and Azriel are the ones to come save her from Tamlin when she's running away, and
Yeah.
he's also the one who like trained her and kind of like perpetually, in training her to fight. He sort of that's like a kind of
Yeah.
helping her
That Cassian
survive.
100% would be the first person to go to the wall to get her.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and so I was like, oh, he lines up. I don't. We're not engaging with the people who think that Nesta and Cassian don't go together.
No, we're
Um,
not. Not today. We're not.
Not today. Okay, and then the next note I have is Elain and her dad. Did you think of anything with
I
this?
mean, I underlined that she has flower, the flower thing, but I didn't put any notes next to it. I'm just like, fine, fine, fine. Can we have a theory where Nesta is not okay? If I get the order of sister, I get the birth order of the sisters could be slightly problematic for this theory, but let's
Yeah.
go. So
Okay.
Tamlin knows the mom, was in love with the mom, right? Because of the Tamlin myth,
Yeah.
right? And there's that theory. And because there's some weird sketchy shit that happens where, did she not tell you about us, blah blah blah, whatever else, right? There's some weird eye contact with Lucian we'll get to, that's like from previous chapters when they're talking about her mom. So like there's lots of theories that Tamlin knew her mom and maybe had a relationship with her mom. This is the only way that I can think that Elain could be Spring Court or High Lady of Spring Court, is if Tamlin is her dad. Not mate, if it's her dad. If Feyre's mom had an affair in the middle of it, because Elain doesn't look like them. She doesn't have her
Yeah.
eyes, Nesta's eyes, my mom's eyes, right? She's a little hippie flower child, right? She's the embodiment of spring. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And what if she's not his mate, but that's his child? And
Yeah.
that's how she becomes High Lady, is because that's her dad, and she inherits it from him the same way everybody else inherits their shit.
Vibes would make sense.
I
Yeah.
like it so much better than her fucking the dude who used to fuck her sister.
Yeah, but I also don't love the Feyre fucking her sister's dad either. But yeah,
Fair, fair.
yeah. Oh, okay. So the thing you were finished with your point, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing I just thought it was interesting, like the way that Elaine and Dad now I get like again, sort of my theme with this chapter is that it's the false happy ending. It's supposed to be like feeling like the end of a book type thing and everything's back to normal. So maybe this is just part of that, but the way that Elaine and the dad are like still like happy and like arm in arm and like, doting on each other, like it just seems like too happy and for okay, like my mind went a lot of places just like okay, maybe Nesta and Feyre, this is to show that they get it and then these idiots just are like
Yes. Yes.
oblivious. But I also was like, or maybe like it's so kind of like it almost felt like scripted with the way that they're so kind of like, like maybe they were like off again, I don't really think this, but like I could see like maybe they're off plotting something or talking about something, or they have some kind of connection, or they're working on something, and then they have to like appear normal. It just kind of felt like something that people do when they were trying to seem. But
I
I
would
just
I
think
would
I don't
I would love for these characters to be
have more
more
depth.
than the fucking idiots that they are.
Yeah, because they just seem like not realistically like
So
duh.
stupid. Elaine's like, "Look at all the flowers. Everything's great. Hi, daddy." And the
Yeah.
dad's just like, "I'm rich again, and my ships came out. They can't get over the fucking ships, and they found their ships at the bottom of an ocean. Elaine, where'd they find them? Like
Yeah,
they're
dude.
their IQ is at a ketchup bottle.
Yeah.
There's
So
like
maybe
everything's
it'd be nice
lovely
if
and
it wasn't
fun.
actually, and that's just their front. And then this is the hint that they have this sort of front is because they're so bad at pretending like everything's fine.
That she's already getting intuitions that she's telling him that he needs to rebuild his fleet because he's gonna have to come save them one day. I mean, that would be lovely. Please give it to me, because my God, they're a bunch of fucking idiots right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you think of anything with their armor
That
arms? That seemed
or
weird to you?
that or what we're supposed to be seeing is how powerful the glamour is.
Glamour
That it's
is?
literally making them fucking dumb.
That's funny.
That like everything is rainbows and sunshines. Like yeah, where the people who are seeing through the glamour are seeing the horrors of the world. But yeah, I don't know. I need the next book because I need Elaine not to suck so hard.
She's not going to, like, we'll like her by the end of it, but it's just, like, hard to imagine right now, but
Yeah, it's so
it's
hard to
been
imagine. I'm
because
like,
of things like this that you're just like
yes,
yeah.
please go back to the beginning and tell me that she was doing something more exciting. Please tell me that she was already trying to fucking see stuff, or that she was spacey and smiling because she was fucking communing with the future. I don't know, something, anything to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I always thought it was a gut feeling, and I would just like give her fucking ADHD. I don't give a shit. Do something with her because right now she's just so flat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you fall in love? I picked out all the flowers. Hi, daddy. Get a life, Elaine. The best thing to ever happen to Elaine was being thrown into the cauldron, and that's a tragedy.
Yeah.
That what
Or
should be
well, best
like
for
I
her character arc, but yeah.
no best for her.
Yeah. Like,
What
it
was
could
she gonna
it's
do for the rest of her life? I mean, maybe she would have been
Mhm.
completely oblivious and happy and grow old, but then daddy's gonna die and you're just gonna sail around maybe and see some stuff and not be able to understand any of it because you're a cutesy little fucking airhead? Come on. You have
Most
to
people
have
would say that's a
more.
dream.
Gross.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought. But were you suspicious of that, or were you just like whatever, like annoyed by it?
No, I mean I'm annoyed by it, but I'm suspicious as fuck. And not
Okay.
I'm not suspicious of them. I'm suspicious of SJM.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, like
suspicious of
of their
what
behavior, like in
I'm
this
suspicious
way.
of what I'm supposed to get from this. I'm suspicious of what are you going to do with this character that seems like there's nothing there?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I keep being suspicious of being like, why are they so close? And like I
Yeah.
get like, and it would be fine if it was just like, well, that's her dad. Yeah, sure, fine. But like, one, I'm a millennial, and all of us be fucking peace out Girl Scout to our parents because boomers. So not a good argument. Two, that's not a reality for Nesta. You can't be like, oh, well, that's her dad. Of course she loves him. Yeah, it's Nesta's dad too, and she fucking hates him. So you can't have that claim.
Yeah.
So why are they so close? Why is that the one he dotes on? Why is that the one that he loves? Because she's kind to him? Why is she not also mad at him? Because she's dumb?
Ah, that's like what it implies. It's just that she's yeah. Yeah. Something is interesting there.
Happy with whatever she does. I would be a little frustrated if it was like full redaction, where it's like we come back and we realize that even in this
Yes.
moment, she's being a fucking
Yeah.
savior and she's telling her dad, hey,
Because it just feels cheap
it
in
does.
like a gotcha or like a full like a
I
retcon
would
or
love to
something.
get her point of view where she's just like, Man, if I could have just stayed in that really whimsical, stupid state that I was in with the glamour. Like, if she could admit,
Yes.
wow, when the glamour was on me, I was dumb. And it washed away everything and made me like a flat,
Yeah.
non-seeing person, even more so than I already was. Like, I've always been a little in my own world, and maybe it's my seer, and I'm good with that, right? She's always been a little like kind of space cadet. Cool.
Mhm.
Well, because she's living in the fucking future or the past or whatever the fuck she's seeing. Great.
Mhm.
Beautiful foreshadowing for that. Totally fine. But this, I would love for, instead of her being like, and I told dad to come save us, that he needed, like, no, ill. I would rather her be like, I didn't realize how strong that glamour was because I was an idiot. And
Yeah.
it took me being kidnapped and put into the cauldron to realize that something was wrong. And I wish I had seen it. I wish I could have broken through it before. I wish I could have done more. And I want that to be her guilt. I wish I could have been
Mhm.
there for Nesta. I wish I could have saved Nesta. I wish I could have seen what was going on or been aware of what was going on. I wish that I had been able to see it so that you would have been able to trust me with your truth the way that Nesta was trusted with it. Because we're going to go forward being like, Nesta knows that Feyre is maybe alive, maybe not alive, saving Tamlin, and Elain's just what? Making fucking flower wreaths? She still knows nothing?
Yep.
And then how do they get kidnapped? We don't know any of the story, how long they're staying in the summer or in the spring court, what they're doing, if there's any interaction with Lucien or Tamlin, right? And she can
There can't be. Yeah.
they're the ones who bring them, right?
Yeah, we've debated this a lot.
I'm just saying there's like a whole we I need to
There's
know that information.
something.
There's something. They didn't just get plucked from one house and I mean maybe it says that like they're still in their night clothes, right? So like is the assumption that they got stolen
That
in the
well,
middle of the night from their
I
manor and that
when
there
we
was
initially talked about this, my argument was that there's no way they were there for very long, and probably that Ianthe was the one who took them because I think Rhys would have found out if any time had passed, or it had to
yeah,
have been in those few hours that they were traveling, because otherwise Rhys would have known and would have like
okay.
So or Ianthe was the one doing everything, and so I don't think she spent time in the Supreme Court just based on that. She could have, but that was like my thing.
But the idea is that like Ianthe and someone from Highburn went to the manor house in the
Yes.
human realms, grabbed them and went straight to Highburn.
Yeah, because that's why Tamlin and Lucian are surprised. Now they could be faking surprised, but I do think it would be very hard to sneak around
And
with Reese, and they've got a network and
they
all
knew
that
that
stuff.
Feyre was coming. They
I
knew
think
that.
Hybern knew that he could draw Reese there. There's no.
Just saying, we're gonna have to read very closely for the next book because I feel like there's some shit that we're not either remembering or that we're not told. Like, how do
Hmm.
they know that they're gonna be there and that like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I do remember. I think there is some kind of explanation for it,
I'm sure there is.
but I can't remember. I always thought it was crazy how she goes. I always knew you could get more.
Yeah, this seems like a really lazy explanation for Nesta being a fucking bitch, but
Or it just makes her seem fucking delusional. Like, girl. Which, we sort of argue that they don't understand the situation because Feyre's been handling everything for them, but that is not how you talk when you're that poor, when you're starving. Jesus.
yeah.
Uh,
Although I do like her being like I was sort of sabotaging all of us to making him do
yeah.
something.
A self sabotage, like, that is supported psychologically. That makes more sense. The second part makes more sense. The I knew you could get more seems insane, but the
Yeah.
second part definitely makes a lot more sense, and it's really interesting because it's like what a kid would do or what a kid might really.
Yeah. I think though I think that this is why the trauma of his death hits so much harder though. Because for years all
He
she
never
wants
got. Hmm.
well for years all she wants is him if he would actually go out and fight for us. That's
Yeah,
exactly what he does and then he dies.
yeah, yeah.
And she's like, all I've ever wanted was and go and fight for us. And you literally brought a fleet with you to fight in a battle with us. And so, like, one, I have to reconcile, like, oh, well, he actually did it, so I'm not supposed to be mad at him anymore.
Mhm.
But also, I'm still mad, and now I can't even try to work it out with him because he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. He let her
I
die.
have so many questions about this, right?
Yeah, I'm like, what kept it seems like because we've talked about why the fuck are they staying on that slice of land?
Yeah,
Shouldn't the Prince Emergence be in like some kind of trade capital? And
yeah.
he's in this dinky little town. And so, but like even when his beloved wife was dying, he doesn't leave. And so to me, I go, I wrote, what's keeping this bro in Brithian? Is
Okay,
that what kind of you were thinking?
no. He had a fleet of ships at his disposal to sail across the world for a queue. He could have hired men to go into Prithian and beg them for help, but he let her waste. So she's saying, like, he could have gotten help in the Feylands, right? He could have gone
Mhm.
north and he could have asked for help. If we turn back to page 80,
Oh,
this is the conversation where they're talking to Feyre for the first time about her mom, right? And then so Tamlin asks, "How did she die?" And she says, "Typhus when I was 8." And Feyre Tamlin said, and I half turned, a muscle feathered in his cheek. Lucian glanced between us, that metal eye roving, but kept silent. Then Tamlin shook his head, the movement more animal than anything, and he murmured, "I'm sorry for your loss." So imagine this. Tamlin knows her mom, maybe intimately. The dad could have gone to Tamlin to the north to get a cure for a stupid human illness. And that's why there's this weird conversation, this silent thing, right? Because he's like, "How did she die?" And that's after she said it was typhus. And Lucian is like, "How's he going to react right now? What's he going to say? What?" And Tamlin's just like, "She died of a fucking mortal disease? What?" "Oh, I'm sorry for your loss." Like, right? And he's like having to kind of cover it up.
yeah.
She
That
died.
okay, that's interesting. He didn't want to go ask Tamlin because he knew that they had a history or found
Or
out. Maybe
even just
favorite.
and maybe not even, like, didn't ask Tamlin because they had a history, but, like, knowing I can't go north because that's where she's from, or that's where her history is from, or whatever, and Tamlin being like, "It would have been so like, this is unnecessary. He could have just come here and said that she was sick, and we would have cured her in 5 seconds. Of typhus? Of a fucking cough disease?"
Yeah,
Or that he doesn't believe that
dude,
it's typhus, but that's a different art. That's a different here.
that's interesting too.
Also, why why is Nesta mad about him not saving their mom? Because here's the thing, like, I know, again, I think I'm questioning the relationship between Nesta and her mom. Right. So Nesta loves her mom and she's mad at her dad for not saving her. But everything we know about the mom kind of sucks.
Yeah,
And it says that, like, she created Nesta to be her creature. So I'm like, well, is this actually love? Or is this like a trauma bond? Or, like, because Nesta's been raised to be her mother's creature, that she doesn't know who she is without her mother dictating who she is. And so what she's really mad about is that she can't find herself anymore with her mom dead, and that he let her die.
yeah.
And
That that
she can't be
feels
mad at
almost
her
true.
mom because she's dead, and she can't be mad at herself because, well, fuck, how am I supposed to be me if I don't have the person who's supposed to tell me how to be me? So the only other person I can put that on is him.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's probably like what is actually happening because probably none of our crackpot theories
But
about
it's a much more,
but
beautiful, much more complicated relationship between Nesta and her mom. That it's that same kind of, like, Manon and her grandmother, where she's like, "I love my grandmother. She raised me, and she's a
Mhm.
fucking psycho bitch.
Yeah,
But without her, I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't even know who I am without her. Even though I'm gonna be the one to kill her in the end."
I was just thinking about like because Nesta can't kill it, she's already dead, and anyway.
Yeah.
Um, I only had one more thing, which is just that we end on this interesting like sort of guilt, and interesting that Nesta's like kind of the one that puts it in her mind, like, hey. the you I know would never just let Tamlin die, and it's kind
Yeah.
of like I think it's like what like sort of marinates in her brain and ultimately will make her go back. But it's interesting that it originates with Nesta.
Yeah.
But maybe it's Nesta really knowing who she truly is, or
I feel like the questions that have been raised for me this chapter, like, what's the mom dad relationship,
yeah.
right? With all the girls. Is Nesta a witch?
Hmm.
And who the fuck is this mercenary? That's what I've got.
Yes.
That's what I've got this chapter.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I think we still talk like we still had so much to talk about. Like, it's crazy actually how much we just like. There's so much in this chapter.
Um, but I also feel like it's kind of an okay place to like sit and marinate for a little bit.
Mhm. Because we can
There
always
are
come back to it if you think of something
Yeah,
else or,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I have some Nesta making the drop theories that'll come up at some point.
I
Um,
love those. Those are the best.
okay.
Next week we'll talk about 31 and yeah, it's the chapter where the ball happens and we hear about
Mhm.
Claire better and she decides to go and it ends with her getting back to Spring Court and
Yeah.
being like he's gone. So, this is our last full chapter in the human realm.
Yep. For a long time.
Yeah. Well, for Feyre, kind of like ever.
But she goes back to the
Yeah.
human realm,
Mm.
but
But yeah, but like not ever to live, and yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, to the stars who listen, I'll see you next week.
See you next week.